We don't need the meta, we make our own rules. Within mind of a king, card game to card game. Feel our reign, the kings of games, Supreme King TCG. We'll win this game, let's do!
Hey everyone, it's your dude, Nova here, Nightfall, or Chaos King Nova, and this is Supreme King TCG. I'm going to be teaching y'all how to get the best you can out of a Yubel deck. Right now, as y'all know if you watched some of my previous videos, I play a branded Yubel deck, and I'm going to be upgrading it soon, but I'm going to run down on the basics of what you can do to improve your game when it comes to Yubel. Alright, step 1. Yubel is all about reflecting your opponent's force back at them. So what you're going to want to do is, first of all, you're going to want to play 3 Samsara D-Lotus, 3 Spirit of Yubel, and 3 Geist Grinder Golem at all costs. That is your bread and butter. On top of that, you're going to need 1 or 2 copies of Nightmare Pain. That will be what you're searching out to get your damage reflection when the cards that you're playing do not have it. All Yubel cards cannot take battle damage when interacting, but some of them can deal what potentially would be damage back to your opponent, even though you're not taking any personally most of the time. Alright, other than that, you're going to want to remember to run, well, I personally like to run 3 copies of Yubel, the Loving Defender, forever, because with enough fusion material, it can basically wipe most of your opponent's life points out in one go. And if they have anything left over that you left over for them, just smack into it, and boom! The rest of those life points, gonzo! Alright, let's see, what else? I recommend running like some complementary builds. Like, I use branded, like Fallen of Albaz and whatnot, but you can use something like, how about Evil Heroes, for example? Evil Heroes, or hero monsters in general, a good number of them synergize with Yubels. So if you want to run a bit of hero and a bit of a darker female hero adjacent, thing, then that works too. What else could you run? Oh, you could do like a Dark World Yubel deck, or a Clear World Yubel deck, or there's other like non-just dark decks that it will work with, like Branded, the Heroes. Let's see what else. Oh, you could do like a high rank Xyz deck. That also works. And you could probably, let's see. There's a lot of different stuff you could do when making a Yubel deck. Oh, I also run a bit of a counter fairy thing, so that might also be a good way to create like a control variant as well. So you could run like Guiding Ardeen, some of the Solemns, Curse the Forbidden Spell, etc., etc. You could probably do like a bit of a Dark Magician Yubel deck. That would be another way to create a decent control deck as well. What else? Oh, well, the point is, Yubels can mix in with a lot of different stuff. But the point of Yubel cards overall is protecting your life points, but setting it up to where your opponent takes the damage that you would have taken, even if you're not going to be taking any unless they so happen to negate your abilities. Because if they negate your abilities, you're kind of either low on options or out of options. But there's one key thing you need to remember. If they negate your loving defender while it's on the field and hits graveyard, it will still activate its ability. Even if it's interacting with it and it gets banished, it will still activate its ability because it does it in sequence no matter where it's at. Unless it's like face down in the banish zone, then it can't activate. Or unless it gets shuffled back in the deck, uses material, or tribute it. That is why I'm creating a strategy that kind of builds around the weaknesses of certain things and certain way people play nowadays. Because if you create a lock that doesn't let anybody through, it's sure as heck will punish stuff that tries to play Yu-Gi-Oh! As a one-player game instead of a two-player game. That is definitely the most hated type of player that I really despise. Especially when somebody like makes a very annoying variant of Kashtira. That is one of my biggest Yu-Gi-Oh! Pet peeves. But other than that, yeah. Basically, the point of a Yubel deck is reflecting damage. Even if you're not personally taking any at the moment. It's basically based on like paradoxical momentum. For example, if somebody attacks into a Yubel card while I have Nightmare Pain, which is forcing them into attacking into it, mind you, I can like make them take damage that I theoretically would take if my effects were negated, but they currently aren't. Thus, it just deals based on the potential damage instead. For example, if a 3,000 attack point monster attacks into a Yubel whilst my Nightmare Pain is on the field, first thing will happen, the Yubel itself will try and activate, which will deal with 3,000. And if I have Nightmare Pain, it will attempt to do it again. And that would add up to a total of 6,000. If they have another monster in attack mode and they have no way to switch it, then that monster will be forced to attack into it. And if it is 2,000 or higher in attack point value, you'll basically immediately win the duel there. So what I'm trying to say is if your opponent's monster's attack points is high and you have your board set up to where you have all your pieces in play and their monster in attack mode, you can basically win games fairly quickly if you play your cards right. And as you know, one of the main ways to win a duel is to take your opponent's life points to 0. And if you can do that, you win. Other ways are decking them out, or getting an alternative win condition like Exodia, or the Destiny board, Final or Death or whatever, you know. What else? What else? Did I cover everything? Oh. Let's kind of consolidate everything to one, like, thing. Oh, one more piece of advice. If you want to get other fusion monsters into this deck, I suggest playing 3 copies of King of the Swamp, because it'll allow you to substitute for the copies of cards names needed for a fusion monster. For example, I play Grapha Overlord, Dragon Overlord of the Dark World. Basically, that will allow me to ditch a card to negate a normal spell or trap or monster effect. And some of the pieces that people be using nowadays are those. So I can just use that and basically put it off the board for a minute. And if I can knock out some of the other pieces with some of my counter traps, I'm good to go, you know? Is there anything else? Oh, I'd run a few copies at least of Polymerization in order to ditch it to keep the momentum. Also, since you could replace one of the fusion materials of a named material on a fusion monster with King of the Swamp, it acts as a bridge between a lot of really good cards you can use. For example, if you have a named hero monster on an evil hero and it requires only like one other thing, then you can use the King of the Swamp and that one other thing. The other thing has to be the proper material or it won't work. Another example, I play branded cards. It acts as a Fallen of Albaz or another copy of it. So basically, I have like 6 copies of Fallen of Albaz if you include the ones that are acting as it when it's for a fusion summon. What else? It could also act as Yubel in certain circumstances. What else? Is there anything? No, I think I covered everything. Alright. That is, I guess that's basically all I had to cover. Like, comment, subscribe. If you like the new model, I'm going to be using it from now on. And I'm shelving the persona of Astro Nightthorn because I'm going to be starting a podcast soon, and I'm going to try and use this model because it looks more similar to how I look IRL. So, see y'all in the next video. And may your decks be as mighty as a king, and your duels as epic as a king's story. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. If you want to watch one of the recommended videos, go right ahead. If you want to subscribe, click the one in the middle. May the story continue. See you guys in the next video.